Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Bayern Munich put Erik ten Hag top of their managerial list. What does that mean for Manchester United fans? I want to know. Get in the chat, give me your thoughts. Is this weird? Is it good? Is it bad? I mean, at its very basic level, they want to sack Tuchel to replace him with our manager. And some of our fans want Tuchel over Ten Hag. Who is right? Who is wrong? What's going on? We've also got the embargoed section to Ten Hag's press conference. Spoke about Bruno Fernandes's future. Spoke about Sancho. Quite a few interesting quotes coming in from Erik ten Hag that came out at 10:30 last night. I know, it's confusing. Playing on a Monday night means the embargoed section's on a Sunday night at 10:30. Well, let's be honest. We're all tucked up, watching a film, naked, eating M&M peanuts. Well, at least that's what I do. And Barbie's a good film. And I won't hear anything else. But yeah, we'll get into all of that. Also a little bit coming out about Sancho as well. It's match day as well. We've got a bloody watch along today. It feels like it's ages since United plays. So we've got a watch along tonight on the channel, of course. And also, bigger than all of this, we've got Seb and Goldbridge's vlog to Wembley coming out on That's Football at midday. Keep your eyes out for that. Just final editing at the moment, but we've done quite well with that. I don't know what's ticking down there. Anyway, let's get straight into the news. So, coming in from numerous UK and German journalists that Erik ten Hag is now high consideration for Bayern Munich, that talks may have even been taken with representatives of ten Hag, although not with him himself. He apparently still wants to see out the Manchester United project, but Bayern Munich are holding talks about bringing in Erik ten Hag as their coach this summer. Very realistic talks as well. Look, you can only follow the news on a news show. There's an interesting backstory here. And the backstory is that Erik ten Hag is massively admired in European football. He has been on shortlists for Manchester City, Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern Munich in the past. He was on Barcelona's shortlist apparently as well. So he is a manager with a very good reputation based upon what he did at Ajax and what he did in his first season at Manchester United. Obviously this season, much the same as Eddie Howe, Pochettino, De Zerbi, his CV has taken a hit. But obviously what Bayern Munich have done is take the context of that hit and say, well, we actually still think he's a really good manager. He also spent, I think, a couple of years, certainly at least one season, at Bayern Munich as their reserve team coach under Pep Guardiola. He has a massive affection for Bayern Munich and they like him. I said on a video probably 18 months ago when he came in, if there's a job that I think he'd leave United for, it's probably Barcelona or Bayern Munich. So if Bayern Munich are looking to bring Ten Hag in and Man United are looking to move him on, it's a really logical move for everybody and everybody's happy, I suppose. If Man United want to sack Ten Hag and Bayern Munich want to recruit Ten Hag, then everybody wins. So look, in that sense, I can see it. I can definitely see it. And I'm not going to sit here and say no. Where I become confused is that, well, two things really. First of all, the well-trodden path that you already know. I don't want to see another manager get sacked. I want to see a project follow through. I want to see removal of players. And I think if we change the manager, we're hitting the reset button again. Some players will survive that don't deserve to survive as the new manager comes in and embraces everybody. I also don't think it shows Ineos are any different to the Glazers, throwing a manager under the bus yet again, when actually our season has imploded for way more than the manager. I mean, this season is imploded because of the fitness department, because of recruitment, because of the Glazers, because of the CEO, because of the deal not being done until Christmas, the ignorance around the January transfer window, the off-field activities of numerous players. This season is imploded for multiple reasons, and they're not all Erik ten Hag. So I don't want to see Man United's reset yet again being, let's throw Mourinho under the bus, let's throw Ten Hag under the bus, let's throw Ole under the bus. I want to see a proper rebuild of Manchester United. So that's my main reason why I wouldn't change the manager. Even if we lose our next 3 or 4 games, I'd take the hit and say, let's go again, because we've seen that work with Arteta. But second of all, I'm confused. I am confused as to what this would mean if Bayern Munich want to sack Tuchel because he can't get close to a league title with the best team in the league by a very long way. If Bayern Munich want to sack Tuchel to bring in our coach, and we want to let Ten Hag go to bring in Tuchel, Who's right? Bayern Munich or Manchester United? And that is the question, to which we don't have the answer. Daniel, welcome to the Members Club. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much for getting your badge in. To which we don't have the answer. I mean, Man United, under a new ownership, with intelligent people, might see now is the time to replace the manager and believe that Tuchel is better. On the other hand, Bayern Munich are one of the best football clubs run in the world and consistently have been for decades. They operate in a league where they monopolise it, let's be honest, but consistently they buy better players than us. They win a lot more than us. They perform better in the Champions League than us. I'm not going to use the Bundesliga as a yardstick because they should win that every year. I'm amazed that Tuchel has been unable to win the Bundesliga and was very lucky to win it last year. But in the Champions League and in the transfer market, they recruit better than Man United and have done for years and years and years. So we're certainly not bigger than Bayern Munich. So if they are looking at this situation and going, we want Erik ten Hag to be the guy to get our club back to being relevant again in Germany, and Man United are thinking, we want Thomas Tuchel to take Ten Hag's job, I'm a little bit concerned, actually. What message does that send out if Bayern Munich want Ten Hag and we don't, and we want the guy that they're getting rid of? It's a weird one for me. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it is weird because I think Bayern Munich are a very well-run club. I've said numerous times, and we've got a quote coming in from the CEO of Dortmund about Jadon Sancho. I'm a massive admirer of how the German clubs run. Borussia Dortmund and Bayern are the main two that I hear about, but Leipzig do it as well. They have this efficiency in Germany, stereotypically, but also in football they do, whereby the way that they run their football clubs in Germany is that, yes, you have a manager, but you also have a CEO and a sporting director that are very vocal and stand up and take responsibility and do interviews and speak about transfers and the pathway of their football club. And I've been a big admirer of Dortmund and Bayern for that for years. So they are better run clubs than us. I mean, look, Luton Town's probably a better run club than Man United at the moment. But if Ineos are looking to build an elite environment around Manchester United, then I expect to hear from Barada in interviews over the next couple of years. I expect to hear from Ashworth as the director of football, because this is something that Bayern Munich and Dortmund have done for years, and they have great reputations in world football because of it. So, look, if Bayern Munich are genuinely putting Erik ten Hag at the top of their list, according to all these journalists, then it's an interesting one. It's a very interesting one because, as I said last night, who knows? We may end up with Tuchel, they may end up with Ten Hag, and everybody may be happy. I won't be happy about it, but a lot of you might be happy with it. But this toxicity out there, and you know who these people are, it might even be you. There is a toxicity out there that when a manager gets sacked, they also want to see them buried. And that ain't happening with Ten Hag, and it didn't happen with Mourinho either. You're not getting that. You can sack the manager, but you're not getting, he's finished, he's a fucking rubbish, bold fraud, get out of our football club and never get a job anywhere else. He will go somewhere else and he might be successful. And I tell you what, that's the risk you face in real life. If you dump somebody or anything like that because you think you can do better and they go off and have a good life, don't get bitter that you blew your opportunity. Ten Hag, sack him by all means, in your minds, but if he goes off and does well somewhere else, that's the risk you're taking, isn't it? Because there is no way, whatever happens, that Ten Hag's getting sacked by Man United and being finished as a coach. He will go and coach elsewhere, and he may well, I hope he does, go off and do really, really well, because it'll be another failing on United's part on throwing a manager under the bus instead of doing what really needs to be done. And as I've said before, in hindsight, I wish we hadn't sacked Mourinho. I think we got it wrong. Anyone with sense knows we stick with Ten Hag and deal with the clear out and build a new United. Tuchel's not the answer. Bayern would get the best deal, says Andy. Well, interesting opinions coming in. Why have we got members? Look, mods, do your job. I'm not interested. We're a positive community and there are toxic people out there and you will be removed. You won't get any airtime. Good morning, Mark. I hope Ten Hag stays, but also don't forget that Bayern get both Ten Hag's main targets, Kane and Kim Min-jae, could want to go there himself, says Parza. Morning, Mark. Hope you enjoyed Wembley yesterday with Seb. The Moors lost. Can't see Ten Hag going to Bayern unless he gets the sack at United. Oh, I agree, Luke. I don't think Ten Hag will walk out on Man United for Bayern Munich. But if United allow... it's funny, actually. I read something yesterday evening about what if Bayern Munich poach Ten Hag. They can't poach him. He's under contract. We're in control of this. We either let it happen or we keep him. And that's still up for debate. We've got a match tonight, of course. But I think it's really interesting. It's really interesting because I don't think we've ever had a manager that some people want to sack being scouted by one of the biggest clubs in the world. This would be like when people wanted Mourinho out and Real Madrid wanting him. This would be like people when people wanted Van Gaal out and Barcelona wanting him. This would be like people who wanted Oli out and PSG wanting him. That's the reality of the situation. But this is why I don't like the abuse, really. I don't like this nonsensical... Look, everybody's got a place. You know, idiots need content. And, you know, you can find plenty of that by reading certain journalists. But I don't understand... The cake and eat it brigade, whereby, look, if you want to change the manager, you've probably got a good reason for it. But it's the people who take it beyond that. It's the people who start being offensive about his hairline or, you know, using horrific, toxic words about somebody that actually deserves better respect than that. That's just childish bullying, in effect. That's not proper analysis. That's just, you know, I don't like this guy, I'm going to get really abusive. That's the shit side of society. I would respect somebody saying, I don't want Ten Hag as the manager of Man United for this, and this reason, but I wish him all the best somewhere else. And I'm prepared to take that risk that he goes off and proves us wrong. But there's a lot of people out there, I want to sack this expletive, he's absolutely effing useless, this, that, and the other, which is just not true. You might not think he's the right guy for United. I don't even know if he's the right guy for United. All I've said is I'd give him another 12 months. I have a feeling that if we give him the summer, we will be a much better team next year, and we'll look back on this and go, that was our Arteta. That was our, hopefully, Sir Alex, where it was looking bad and we could have sacked him, but look at where we are now. I genuinely think that'll happen in 12 months. But if it didn't, I'd be there going, look, we've given him the time. He's had 3 years. Let's move him on. I think it's incredible to bring in any coach and not give them the third season, because Man United have been in the wilderness for over a decade, and every new manager that you bring in, the job becomes harder. So Van Gaal's job was harder than Moyes. Mourinho's job was harder than Van Gaal and Moyes. Ollie's job was harder than Mourinho, Van Gaal, and so on. And the reason it gets harder, because the further you are away from success, the less players you've got who know about success. And also, the further you are away from success, the bigger pile of shit of players that are getting stacked up by every manager that's had a go. But United seem to have this mentality to make, with every manager we bring in, the job is harder, but we want them to do it in less time. Mourinho had 2.5 years. Solskjaer had 2.5 years. We're now giving Ten Hag 2. I think you have to have a third season. Otherwise, I don't actually believe you can say that the project was ever given a chance. But look, we'll see what happens. Hi, Mark. Ten Hag, get him players, centre-back, CDM at full-backs and strikers. Get rid of the deadwood, says Paul. I hear Darwin is available if we sack Ten Hag. I don't know who that is, Stephen. And if Ten Hag goes to Bayern and does well, I wonder what the Ten Hag outers will say then, says Rhea. Well, I presume they'll own up, because some people still think we shouldn't have let Kieran McKenna go because he went and did his CV at Ipswich and got promoted. Apparently, we should have kept him, which is complete and utter lunacy in my mind. I think Kieran McKenna did exactly the right thing for his career. I don't understand fans that forget we have gone in circles for years with managers. It's a vicious circle and people seem to forget, says Nick White. He's the only manager for years who looks at bringing youth through. I like what he's building. We should see the project through, says Netflix and Chilwell. Slow Sports News says, I genuinely feel bad for Ten Hag. The guy has been dumped into a badly run football club and needs to be admired for the work, and he's done so far, says Slow Sports News. We seem to sack managers at the wrong times, says Ali. I mean, I think that's a great point, actually. When Sir Alex went, the manager market was crap. When Moyes got the sack, the manager market wasn't very good. When Ollie got sacked, the manager market was not very good at that point, and it's not very good at the moment. The only time it worked was when Van Gaal went and Mourinho came in. That was the only time where I was like, "Wow, we've really got a star there." But yeah, I think you're right there. There's a good point there. I mean, I'm going to read some of Ten Hag's comments from the embargoed section because there's some interesting stuff in there. But I just think the youth things are really... Look, it depends how important the youth is to you. But I think around the youth, whoever we recruit, I don't think there's a manager out there that's available with the youth development criteria than Ten Hag. Tuchel, I was looking at last week around his youth. It's debatable whether he is interested in it. He says he is, but his career says otherwise. De Zerbi at Brighton's not too bad. But Ten Hag and youth development is massive. And you look at maybe not the under-23s, but you look at the under-18s, it's riddled with talent. And that, to be honest, when you're 20, you still got a chance of getting in the first team. But look, if you're good enough, United will have identified them at 17, 16, 18, like they have done with Mainu and Garnacho. Well, that team is brilliant. There could be 3 or 4 players from that team that are good enough. And we've got a manager that will promote them. And we're a poor football club. And we're also not that good on the pitch. If you look at United's big renaissance in history, the Busby Babes and the class of 92, they're the best 2 periods in our footballing history. From the mid-50s, when the Busby Babes started to be formed, through to the Munich tragedy. And then from, 96, when you can't win it with kids, right the way through to 99. That we had other players there, but it was based around this nucleus of amazing young talent that led to the 2 best times in our period. I mean, 68, obviously winning the European Cup. You even had George Best in there, who was a young player. But we've got a nucleus of young players at the moment. We have got Mainu, and we have got Garnacho, and then you have got this under-18 team. And there's a real opportunity there to third time lucky to potentially get 2 or 3 players from that team that go with Mainu and Garnacho. You've got five first-team players who are all young players who've come through the youth setup that could build a nucleus for the next 5 to 10 years that makes us relevant again. So are we going to turn our back on that? To some people, the youth setup's not that important. To some of us, it is. But I look at the history of Manchester United, and there is a pattern where we have this sort of nucleus of 4 or 5, 6, maybe even 7 first team young players that come through at around the same time, and it forms a nucleus of a really successful team. Would you turn your back on that to bring in a manager that might not be that interested in that? I mean, the worst thing we can do is bring a manager in who's not interested, who just goes, I've got to get results quickly. And also, the next manager of Manchester United, if you sack Ten Hag, are you really encouraged? This is a great point, actually. If you sack Ten Hag and you bring Tuchel in or De Zerbi in, what are they going to be thinking in their head? Ten Hag got 2 years. I haven't got any time. I haven't got time to be thinking about that 17-year-old being a good player in 3 years if I develop him and put him in the team. I've got to be good now. So I think we send the wrong message that if we sack a manager after 2 years and we want a new manager to come in that's about the youth, that new manager absolutely is going to think, I haven't got long. I've got 2 years max. Can I afford to start bringing in young players? I've got to get results now. That could send the wrong message, couldn't it? Ineos will prioritise youth, mate, regardless as realist. Well, they're not prioritising youth, are they? If they sack a manager after 2 years and bring another manager in that's not that good at youth, you're completely turning your back on youth if you bring a manager in who thinks he's only got 2 years and he's not interested in youth. Management appointment. First stage reaction, second stage reality. Reality bites, and we're walking on underlay, but let's support Ten Hag in this rebuild, says Willa. It's United all over to beat Arsenal and hand the league to City on a plate, says John. I want to beat Arsenal. I'm sorry. I want Arsenal to win the league, but I want to beat Arsenal. Do you blame any of the season on failures on Ten Hag, says Realist? Yes, I do. I don't think Ten Hag is without blame. I'm not a bloody idiot. I can think of a few occasions where he's picked Rashford and he shouldn't have. I can think of a few occasions like Forest away where he took Mainu off at half-time and brought McTominay on and we were drawing and we lost. I think that there has been mistakes. De Gea being sold and Onana coming in. I think that was a mistake as well. There has been mistakes. Of course there are. But I would say that the blame for this season on Ten Hag is nothing more than 30%. Maybe not even that. If you had a whole pie and you're looking at the whole pie and 100% of the blame, I would probably put Ten Hag around 25 to 30%. I think the injury crisis has got to be... I mean, actually, I'd probably say Ten Hag's about 20% because I'd say the injury crisis is at least 50%. I really do think this season with injuries it's historical. It's the worst we've ever had. So I think 50% of the season failings have been injuries. Martinez out all year is just ridiculous. No left back all year is ridiculous. And then everything else. So I'd say 50% of this season is injury. 20% is the manager, and then the other 30% is the ownership and the Glazers. And, going into a season selfishly. We should have done this deal last summer and had Ineos in place last summer. To take it into the middle of a season, I don't think people will ever understand the selfishness of the Glazers. I think people know the Glazers are selfish, but I don't think people will ever really understand the depth of selfishness they have. They put this club up for sale in November 2022. They didn't sanction a deal until Christmas 2023. If they'd have done this deal, which they always wanted to do with Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the summer of 2023, then all the director of football stuff and everything would have been done by August. And we would have had a much better structure going into this season. So the Sancho stuff, the Anthony stuff, the Rashford stuff, we would have had a proper CEO in place and a structure around it. So I think that the season, in no way, shape or form can you pin this all on the manager. Anyway, let's have a look. I love seeing these Erik Ten Hag outers, says Slow Sports News. Does bringing a new manager in change the way the clubs run or change the players' mentality? 5 managers and nothing, says Slow Sports News. Ten Hag would also win a treble at City, says LeBron. Ineos would prefer... I've done that one. Okay, let's go to some of Ten Hag's comments because obviously we've got a match today. There was a press conference and there's an embargoed section to that press conference that came out last night. Some very interesting stuff that brings it, more to the game. But let me just wrap that up with a bow. Genuine news this morning from multiple journalists in Germany and in the UK. Sky Sports News have reported it. Sky Germany have reported it. The Bild have reported it. Bayern Munich are in talks about bringing Ten Hag in as manager this summer. How that pans out, how that benefits us or not, we'll have to wait and see. Ten Hag talking about Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely important to have him available. Taking responsibility is one of the biggest assets nowadays. Top footballers have to show and to deliver. Bruno always delivers. He said he's always available, he never misses a game and always plays in a good level and always giving energy to the team, and such assets are necessary to be successful. It's a very subjective criteria. One is sure, Bruno is a real fighter. Last year, for instance, when we played Brighton in the semi-final, he played with an ankle that was so thick it was unbelievable. He couldn't run, but he was still on the pitch. What is fair enough is that Bruno is a very good example for many other players. He said, I've got a different take on this. When Bruno is being spoken about like that by Erik Ten Hag, I've got a very different take on this. And I might be in the minority, but it will definitely get you thinking. So basically, we've got Erik Ten Hag talking about Bruno Fernandes' mentality, availability, and, suitability for what he wants to bring to Manchester United. Yeah? Yeah. But when I've got a player in a cup semi-final with an ankle injury of the like you've not really seen and he still picks him, that terrifies me. Because if a player is injured, a player is injured. We can all high-five, oh, look at him, he wants to play. I was at the Solihull Moors game yesterday. In extra time, their best player, Jamie Osborne, had to come off because he had nothing left. And it was going to be a penalty shootout, and he's probably their best dead ball specialist. But they took him off because he just had no energy left. Now, if the manager of that team had said, well, he's our best player and he wants to stay on, let's just keep him on. But they had people they could bring on. And I think this is my point. Bruno Fernandes' availability to play for Man United is remarkable. He has the mentality to be a Manchester United player, and he shows it week in, week out. He wants to play, he puts his body on the line, and he puts to shame many players we currently have and have had over the last few years, because we know there are players at the moment that are injured who just don't fancy it. They don't want to be in the firing line, and maybe they've been doing it all season, I don't know. But we certainly have a collection of weak mentality players at this football club, and we have had a lot over the last few years. And Bruno Fernandes doesn't fit into that. But how sad it is that basically Bruno Fernandes plays injured because Ten Hag's got nobody else. Like that's what I get out of that. Bruno will always play, and I'm desperate to play him. That's all I got from that. What a great guy Bruno is. He'll put his body on the line for this football club, and he'll play injured. Well, if he's playing injured, he's not 100%. And if he's not 100%, what percent is he? But we will still pick him. We will still pick an injured Bruno Fernandes because he will give more than players that are fit and raring to go. Well, they're not raring to go. And that's the message I take from that. And that's the message I'd take if I was Ineos. We have a manager at Manchester United, who will pick an injured Bruno Fernandes over a fit alternative because he knows he will get more out of an injured Bruno Fernandes than a fit alternative. That is the message there. And I think you have to listen to a manager like Rangnick. They'll give you the truth in a very, very clever way. And what Ten Hag is saying there is, people can criticise Bruno Fernandes, but he will always play. Whether he's had a bad game, whether he's injured, he always wants to play. And I will pick him injured over the alternatives because he gives a shit. And if I'm Ineos, I'm completely getting that message and going, Bruno Fernandes, if he's injured, should be on the bench because there should be players playing who are fully fit, who are better than him, but they're putting the effort in. And they don't. And we have to pick an injured Bruno Fernandes because we haven't got players who will do that. That's the message there because it's incredible to me. And Bruno does deserve credit, but why have we got players at this football club that won't play injured, that won't play fit and give the same effort as an injured Bruno? He was also speaking about Jadon Sancho. There was a story yesterday. I think it was the CEO or the sporting director of Dortmund over the weekend. Basically said they love Jadon Sancho. They really would like him to stay, but financially it might be a challenge because there might be clubs who come in who've got more money than them. There's talk about maybe another loan deal happening. I mean, look, a loan deal for Man United keeps the problem away, but it doesn't bring us any money. And we're probably subsidising his wages anyway because there's no way Dortmund are paying 300 grand a week. So we need to move Jadon Sancho on. I mean, the one positive about how he played last week was it was a Champions League semi-final in front of everybody. There must be a club out there that will give us 30 million for him. Take the money. Take the money and move him on. Loan deals don't do any good, do they? We had... Ten Hag said we had a visit with him, we had a talk with him during his stay there, and we will keep going with his process. We will continually be in contact and communicate with him. Asked if he still wants an apology from Sancho. He said there was a conflict. Let's finish the season, so stay away from the issue now. It's not important. He has the return of the semi-final in the league. It's not going to go well for them. And we have... What's this? He said he has the return of the semi-final in the league. It's not going to go that well for them. And we have 4 important games in the league and the FA Cup. Then we will see. So basically he's just saying, look, we'll leave the Sancho stuff until the summer. I'm just going through some quotes here I haven't read myself. Yeah, I don't want to read that. Boring. Yeah, I mean, look, on the injuries, he said, look, I've managed in football for over a decade. I've never had this. I've never experienced this amount of injuries. It's so huge, so many injury issues. Look, some people don't like that. I don't like the injuries, but as I said on the show last night, I'm at the point where I just want to end the season. It's just, I mean, God knows what team we're picking tonight. It's just, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I get the frustration on all sides, but the harsh reality is sometimes it's staring you in the face. Our season has been destroyed by a ridiculous injury count that I just don't think there's a manager in the world that would be able to deal with this. It is what it is. Asked about the type of player that he would like to bring into Manchester United, he says every manager wants players with winning attitudes, big personalities to perform under stress. That's what every manager is looking for. I think, again, that's a veiled dig at the squad that he actually has. I don't think you need to be a genius to figure that out. Big personalities, people that can deal with stress, and also winning attitudes. Look, honestly, he inherited the worst Man United Premier League team we'd ever had, with weak mentalities, low threshold to dealing with pressure, and we've still got a lot of those players here. As I said last night, players don't change their type. They can become good for 3 or 4 months, but they'll revert back to being inconsistent if they're inconsistent. Ineos needs to remove these players. Like, it's not even a harsh statement. We all know it. We need a clear out. And Ten Hag is right. You're right. Everybody's right. Everybody knows what we need to do. We need to remove the deadwood and bring in the right profile of player. Yes, it's about dealing with pressure. Yes, it's about consistency. Yes, it's about personality. Yes, it's about attitudes. And yes, it's about consistency. And it's about injury. And it's about off-field activities. And it's about mentality off the pitch. It's about personality. It's about so much. And we lack that. I look at Manchester City, I look at Liverpool, I look at Arsenal. They have a collection of players with far superior consistency, mentality, availability, stress management. We have to rebuild this squad. The worst thing we can do is bring a manager in who gets everybody in a huddle and says, you're my guys, because they're not going to be their guys. They will be for 6 months and then they'll bury them. And recruitment is so important, and removal is more important as far as I'm concerned. He was also asked about the Bruno Fernandes interview. Now, I'm glad that Ten Hag said this, because thankfully we sort of reacted to this as a community in a very mature way. But there were people who took it completely out of context and did website articles and YouTube videos and tweets and X and posts about Bruno's interview, saying that Bruno might leave this summer. If you listen to the interview of Bruno Fernandes last week, he said, I'm happy here. I get the message that the club are happy with me. But hypothetically, if I was asked to leave, I wouldn't look at it until after the Euros anyway, because my focus is on Man United and Portugal until then. But the takeaway was, I'm happy here and the club are happy with me. And that was it. And some people just took it completely out of context. Well, Ten Hag was asked about it last night, and he said that was taken out of context. He's at Manchester United and he's happy to be here. Bruno Fernandes is not leaving Manchester United this summer. I'd never say never, because if Bruno Fernandes wants to play in Saudi Arabia at 30, then there will be a massive offer from Saudi Arabia for Bruno that United might want to take. But he's not going this summer. Like this, we've already got to do a sale or a purchase every 4 days just to sell 10 players and sign 7. 17 deals in 3 months, do the maths. You've got to do a deal every 4 days. We're not going to do that. 10 players that we're going to sell ain't going to be people like Bruno in that 10. So Bruno's not going anywhere this summer, whether that's a good decision or a bad decision. I wouldn't sell Bruno. I think Bruno is an issue because he's such a big player. How do we get the best out of him? But even in the last couple of games, I think we've been more measured in the final third in the absence of Rashford, because I think Bruno knows Rashford's strength is the counter. So I think Bruno naturally does look for the Hollywood pass more when Rashford's on the pitch, because that's Rashford's strength to get in behind. What we've seen with no Rashford in the team is a different Bruno, I think, where he's been more more possessive of the ball. Like, he knows that the long ball over the top's not really going to work for an Anthony and Garnacho, so we're being a bit more progressive. So I think Bruno Fernandes with the right players around him can be the right number 10 for us, but that's going to be a problem for next season, I think. Same ref as the Chelsea game tonight, but he's wearing a GoPro according to Sky. Interesting, says Ben MC. Mate, look, I'm doing the podcast tomorrow. I think the podcast's going to be a very interesting show tomorrow for things I alluded to last night. But the refereeing this weekend was a shambles. I mean, I saw penalties being given that we didn't get last week. I've seen fouls, and it's. I don't know what to say. It's not even to do with Man United. I don't know what to expect in any given Premier League game at the moment. It's just horrific. It's an absolute. That's a completely separate argument to what we're talking about on the United stand, but the officiating's just a joke. Bruno needs a rest, says Andy Cheatham. When's he ever going to get one, Andy? That's the thing. Transfer season will be hard. Players won't be as eager to join an 8th place Man United team. These injuries are very concerning, says Luke Davison. Welcome to the Members Club, Cello. Thank you very much. You're an absolute legend. Alpha says, anyone that thinks logically knows this isn't the season to sack Ten Hag. The only ones saying it are Twitter kids and dead YouTubers, says Alpha. Ahmed says, Frimpong 34 million, Tadibo 40 million, Branthwaite 70 million, Edison 40 million, Elise 50 million, Tossin free, Rabiot free, Barkley free. Is that realistic, says Ahmed? Look, anything's realistic. I don't know what the tenacity and hunger of Sir Jim Radcliffe is in this transfer market. I can only predict that I think he will want to make a big splash. Ineos are still in that PR period where they need to convince and earn trust. And I think the best way to do that for a lot of fans, an easy win, is to do things that are an easy win. New CEO is an easy win, makes people happy. New director of football, easy win, makes people happy. Sell a load of players, easy win, makes people happy. Buy new players, easy win, makes people happy. Follow the CEO and the director of football path. I expect major sales and I expect major signings, but I guess, that is a guess. Dan Harding says, would you keep Luke Shaw as a backup centre-back? Less stress on his body. I don't think he can stay at left-back, says Dan. I don't want to see Luke Shaw going anywhere. I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw and fit. Look, last season when he was playing at left centre-back, I think he was one of the best left-sided centre-backs in the Premier League, and he's a left-back. At left-back, I think he's one of the best left-backs in Europe when he's fit. You can't ignore the fitness problems. That is absolutely correct. We have to be very, very aware of that. But I would keep Luke Shaw. Tina G says, how's Beth? Will she be up for the build-up? Yeah, she wasn't well on Friday, but obviously it's Monday night now. I'm presuming there will be a late fitness test, but the recuperation and the recovery has gone well. Plenty of Lemsips and fresh air, and I think she's going to be fine for the build-up show later on today, which is obviously great news as well. And look, you know what? Nothing's ever going to not get me excited about a Man United match day. And in some ways, it's a bit like the FA Cup final against Man City. We're massive underdogs. On the day, I'll be buzzing and excited because there's always hope. And that's the way I feel about today. I'm excited because there is always hope. We are the underdogs today. I'm not having any United fan going, we can't be underdogs against Palace. We are bloody underdogs. Go back to 2009-10 season. We won the league that year. We went to Fulham with Fletcher and Carrick at centre-back because we had no centre-backs fit, and we lost 3-0. Like, if you don't understand what it's like to not have a back four fit, then the reality is at this level, you're going to get punished. And I think it's going to be very, very, very hard for us tonight. But as I said, those set of players have the chance to be getting huge praise tonight and tomorrow morning if they can go and get a result there. Ten Hag says, I've asked Ineos for more depth. Yes, that is one of the issues in constructing the squad that we have to improve to do things better and construct a squad. We have to have more depth in it. Yeah, 100%. So look, I'm excited about tonight, but I'm also realistic that I think it will be a very, very, very difficult a very, very difficult game for United, and everybody else will be watching us like Chelsea and Newcastle, thinking that they've got us. Goldbridge rattled City. Frame it in the Louvre, says AM United. Podcast tomorrow. Hopefully be out around lunchtime. I can't say anything more than that. Just listen to the podcast tomorrow when it comes out, and I don't want to drag the mood down. Right. Let's have a look at what people are saying in the chat. First time injuries have been used as an excuse, says Mark. Sorry. When look, I the way I've run this channel is I'm always trying to be inclusive of everybody. I'm not gonna lie. There is some really weird toxicity around our fan base at the moment, like a dog with a bone. And I will read them out occasionally just because I want to be even-handed, but I apologise for the low IQ of some of the comments. Why do we even look at Branthwaite? Inacio or another cheaper option would be better. Anyone who doesn't cost a fortune. He's British and young, says Florian. I like Branthwaite. I do like Branthwaite. Jacob, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm hoping to have it up. Oh, that's what she said. I might even have it up by 11:30. So I was using a new vlogging camera actually yesterday. I had no idea how it was going to work. So I was walking around with this at Wembley, and I've started it. I'm about halfway through at the moment, and should have it up on That's Football channel for 11:30. So Seb's first trip to Wembley. He's begging to go to the FA Cup final now, actually. So we might go to that as well. But obviously, it's difficult because. It's difficult. It is difficult because the watch-alongs it's what we do. It's like going to a football match is a very selfish thing. And that's why I haven't done it for so long, because it's like, you know, this is what we do. It's a massive, massive community. But it's different now because I've got, you know, Seb's 6. I didn't start going to football matches till I was about 9. So he's still going quite early, but he loved it yesterday. You'll see it on the vlog. I mean, he's smashing a chair at one point. They should have kicked him out. He should be. In fact, he might not be able to go to the FA Cup final because he might get a banning order. Me and Will were just looking at him in extra time, just bashing this chair. So yeah, but you'll see it on the vlog. That'll be out about 11:30 on That's Football. Elise and Ezzy and Mateta all in form, says Realist. Wharton as well. Henderson in goal. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult game for United tonight, and Sellers Park's never easy. But look, it's 11 against 11. It's 11 against 11 at the end of the day, and we've got to go out there as Manchester United and give everything that we can. Exactly. Right, I'm going to go and finish that vlog anyway. That's going to go. I was going to put it up on my channel, but it's actually going to go up on That's Football. So check that out on That's Football. Get over there and subscribe so you get your notification, or just go on there at 11:30, or just follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting it out anyway. We kick off at 8 o'clock tonight, so I will be live with you at 7:30, but we'll have countdown to kick off from 6:30. Team news is going to be very interesting when that comes in. I'm excited. It's a bank holiday in the UK today as well, so we're all off in the UK, which is quite nice. Weather's quite nice at the moment, so enjoy whatever you're doing. If you're at work or school or whatever, you've still got a match to look forward to tonight. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe. I will see you later. If you want to get one of these, it's one of our new designs. It's to do with the FA Cup final. I think it's pinned, or you can go United Stand Shopify. I like the yellow one. I think it's the first time we've ever done yellow hoodies. I do like the yellow. It's very, very nice. I don't know whether it would suit me, but I do. I'm thinking about getting a yellow one. Take care, everyone. We will speak to you later. We will reconvene later. Fantastic show. Check out the vlog when it comes up, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.